guys, and welcome back to my channel, the Bronson Sky Library. So today I thought I would share recommendations, book recommendations of LGBTQ plus representation in them. I know it's like the very, very end of June, but because it still is Pride Month, I thought it would be fun to recommend some books with representation in them. So I have a list of books that I am going to suggest books that I have read that have representation in them and that I liked, and then I'm going to share some recommendations from those who are following me on Instagram. I asked what books to recommend, and they suggested some, so I'm going to share that list as well. So the first set of books that I want to talk about is The Drowning Empire by Andrea Stewart. It's a trilogy. It consists of The Bone Shard Daughter, The Bone Shard Emperor, and then The Bone Shard War. And I wanted to talk about it because in the first book there is, well, the first, second, and third, not just the first book, but you get a couple from the very beginning. They are a lesbian couple. One is a street urchin and the other like a street orphan, I guess you could say. And then the other one is, and I'm forgetting the terminology, but not a mayor. She's not the mayor's daughter, but like, she's the daughter of like, because not the emperor, but like, I'm just forgetting the terminology, but the person is in charge of like a specific area, so kind of like a mayor. So yeah, the mayor's daughter and then the street urchin and orphan, and I really like their relationship. Is a little rocky at first and still kind of towards the end because like they, not really like super rocky, they just have a lot of things going against them, like their viewpoints, the way that they were brought up, their political views, they clash together quite often because one's a street urchin, one's the daughter of the mayor or whatever. So yeah, things just kind of clash sometimes, but they're both women and they're both in a relationship with each other, and that's the representation that's in that series. They're not the main characters, but I think they become a little more prevalent throughout the trilogy. So book one, you don't get those two as often, but I think you get them more as the books go on. And then the second series that I want to talk about is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. It's kind of the opposite of The Drowning Empire, where, well, I guess it is the opposite of The Drowning Empire, because in The Drowning Empire we have a lesbian couple, and in this we have a gay couple. And I don't think it's necessarily in book one. We don't get it from book one. I mean, we do have some representation in book one because I think Kel's brother, he's gay. I don't know if he's bisexual or not, but I know that he's gay. But like, Kel's brother is in a relationship, or was in a relationship, with Alucard, and I don't know if Alucard is bisexual or if he's gay, but he's one of the two. I'm pretty sure he's bisexual because I'm pretty sure he has like, or he's had relationships with women, and he just chooses to be in a relationship, or just he chooses to love Kel's brother instead because Kel's brother is cool and great, even though I don't remember his name. He's Prince of something. He's Prince. But anyway, so that's that series. Again, I don't think we get too much of those two within like the first book, but I know we get them in like the second and third book a little bit, and I think it's a little less, I think it's more subtle between the two than it is in The Drowning Empire, because I think you see more of the relationship in The Drowning Empire than you do the relationship in the Darker Shade of Magic series. Honestly, I don't remember, because I haven't read A Darker Shade of Magic for like years and years, but I do know that there's representation. Okay, And then the third one that I wanted to suggest is the Aurelian Cycle by Rosaria Mendez. It includes Fireborn, Flamefault, and Fury Song. And again, this series, it doesn't have it in the first book, but we do get representation in the second book, because we basically, the same as A Darker Shade of Magic, we have two characters. One is gay, I'm pretty sure, and the other one is also just bisexual, because kind of the same idea where, like, one has had relationships with, like, women. I don't know if he's, like, gay and he's just hiding that he was gay by, like, having relationships with women, or if he, like, is actually just bisexual. I don't remember exactly. But the thing that I like about this one is I wouldn't go into this series thinking that, like, you're going to get a great romance between, like, these two guys. It's more like, because the relationship is more like forbidden love, forbidden romance, and I don't necessarily remember if, like, they end up together or not. So I think, because from what I'm, like, remembering, like, something happens, but that's also spoilery, so I don't really want to get into it. But, like, I wouldn't go into this thinking, like, yeah, this is like a great romance, and, like, I wouldn't, like, go into, like, any of these thinking, like, you're going to get, like, a fantastic romance between, like, LGBTQ plus representation. Like, I feel like you go into it getting the representation, and then, like, getting a good story, like, out of it, if that makes sense. Am I saying that right? I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yes. So yeah, with, like, Fireborn and, well, so with, like, the Aurelian Cycle, I, again, wouldn't go into it thinking you'll be getting, like, this great romance between the two, but there's still representation in it, and that's why I wanted to suggest it. And then the fourth one, I actually haven't read this one before, but I wanted to suggest it because no one suggested it in my, like, Instagram thing, but also I know that there's representation in it because my brother, like, my brother's gay, and he loves to give me, like, books that probably, I think all of them have representation in them, and so I know for a fact that this book that he got me has representation in it, and that would be Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera. I forgot his first name for a second. But yeah, Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera. I have no idea what the representation in it is. I'm going to assume that they're gay, but no, I shouldn't assume. I shouldn't assume things. But I know that there's representation in it because I'm pretty sure Adam Silvera is someone who identifies as, like, someone a part of the LGBTQ plus community, I'm pretty sure, and he, like, writes a lot of that kind of fiction, because I'm pretty sure I have another book, The Boys, They Both Die at the End. I'm pretty sure that also has representation in it, because I think the two boys in that book are, like, have a romantic relationship with each other, I think, from what I remember. So that's another suggestion. I don't know why I didn't put that on the list. They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. So, like, both of those books, even though I haven't read them yet, I do know it has representation, and I didn't, and so I wanted to share, especially Infinity Sun, I wanted to share that one because no one mentioned it in my Instagram thing, and so I thought it needed a little shout out, because I don't think a lot of, I don't see that one talked about a lot, so that's also another reason why I wanted to share it. But then the fifth and final one of, like, on my list is it's not a fantasy, it's not sci-fi, it's just regular, like, fiction, just literary fiction, contemporary fiction, if you want to call it. And that would be the Beartown Trilogy by Frederick Bachman. You don't know that there's this kind of representation in the first book, until I think like closer to the very end of the book, but the whole trilogy has that representation in it. And what I love about this series is that it's not the typical like gay story or like the typical gay representation. It's because the character in this book who happens to be gay is a hockey player, and he isn't the stereotypical gay guy. And I really appreciate how Frederick Bachman handled it in this series. But yeah, that's another series. I love the Beartown trilogy, so I will always talk about it. I really enjoyed it, especially the first two books. I think those two were phenomenal. So yeah, I highly, highly suggest that series. Okay, so for the Instagram suggestions, the ones that my followers suggested, I'm not going to say what the exact representation is in the books because I did try and look for what kind of representation is in the books, but like maybe my research skills are just like so poor that I didn't find anything, or maybe yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just that my research skills are so poor and I couldn't find anything for some of them. Some of them I did, but some of them I just, like, it just wasn't telling me what it is and what it was, and so I was like, I'm just gonna suggest them, and if you've read them, that's awesome. Let me know in the comments, like, what the representation in those books are, because I would love that. Or if you haven't read them, just know that, because I trust my followers, just know that there is representation, because, again, I trust my followers. So anyway, with the first book, it's House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. A few people have suggested that one, so I know already that there's representation in it. And I have heard T.J. Klune come up in conversation, like, quite often, and so, like, within, like, the book community, and, like, I've seen, like, the posts and stuff, and so I know that he is big into having representation in his books, I'm pretty sure. And I did find a quote on the internet for the House in Cerulean Sea. It says that there's strong LGBTQ representation, positive diversity and inclusion, and honest depictions of prejudice and abandonment. So there's that for you, for the House in the Cerulean Sea. And then the next book is Win a Wager by Dean Brin. I've never heard of this, and I tried looking for it online. I'm pretty sure I did find something with that one. I think it's non-binary characters, so that's awesome. I couldn't find anything. The next book is The Sky on Fire by Jen Lyons. For some reason, and I know that this one is, I think, more popular than Win a Wager by Dean Brin, I just couldn't find anything. At least I've heard of The Sky on Fire, but I haven't heard of Win a Wager, so that's why I say Sky on Fire is more popular. I don't know if it is or not. But I have no idea what the representation is for The Sky on Fire. Couldn't find anything. But again, I trust my followers. So there's also that. And then there's Iron Widow by Jiren J. Zhao. Sorry, that's kind of a hard name to say, like, all at once. But I think I have heard of this author before, and I'm pretty sure they also have a lot of representation in their books. I'm not familiar with that, but because I haven't read a book from them before, but I'm pretty sure. Anyway, and then the next book would be Tainted Cup. I've heard of this book. I don't know who it's by. I'll put who it's by here. So again, I don't know what the representation is in that one. And then we have Iron Crown. Also not sure who that is written by. I forgot. Totally spaced. And then we have Running Close to the Wind. And then, again, don't remember who it's by. I'm so sorry. I have looked all of these up, and then I totally spaced it. Totally spaced, like, writing it down in my little notebook. But I will put the author right here, like the name of the author. And then we have Legends and Lattes, and I actually did buy this book recently, and it's not because I knew that there was representation in it, I just wanted to buy it. And it's also funny because another book that I bought on the same day, at the same time, also has representation in it, and I'm also going to suggest that one too. But yeah, Legends and Lattes, I bought this the other day, and I'm going to assume, I need to stop assuming things, but I kind of feel like the two characters on here are both female ogres or something, or female something. I know she's an ogre, and then maybe it's these two females that are on the cover. I'm going to assume that they're females. I need to stop assuming things, but I'm going to make an educated guess that it's going to be these two are the representation that's in this book. Anyway, yeah, Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. And then this same person who suggested Tainted Cup, Iron Crown, Legends and Lattes also suggested a book called Jasmine Throne. And then a friend of mine, she suggested a series called The Zodiac Academy. She says that it takes a few books to get to the representation, but that they're not the main characters, but that there is representation within the books. And then another one is Gideon the Ninth. I have heard of this book, and it's been on my radar for a while now. I just haven't gotten to it. Another book is Winter's Orbit. The author is right here. And then another book is The Solstice Court. Again, author right here. And then this follower of mine also suggested The Bone Shard Daughter, which I have already suggested. And then the other book that I bought on the same day that I bought Legends and Lattes was this book. And it's not really a book, it's more of a novella, but it's Even Though I Knew the End. And I know exactly what the representation is in this one because the cover shows two women. I mean, this is like kind of blotched out, but there's two women, and it talks about in the description about how it's a detective trying to do whatever it takes to be with the love of her life, who is another woman. So there's this book, and so I'm kind of proud of myself that I bought two books with representation, even though I didn't know one of them didn't. Even though I didn't know one had representation, I still feel good about myself that I bought two books in the same day with representation. And then, yeah, that's actually all of the ones that were suggested by my followers. So hopefully, again, please tell me what the representation is of like the other books that I just suggested by my followers. Let me know what kind of representation is in these books, if you've read them. And yeah, let me know if you have suggestions as well. Let me know what kind of representation is in like the books that were not suggested in this video. Let me know if you have more. And yeah, thanks for coming to my video. Like and subscribe if you want, and I will see you in my next video. Alright, bye!